Hi, and welcome to another episode of CCSD News and Review. I'm Brendan Lowe.
And I'm Diane Harmon.
Our lead story in district news, city news, and sports is President Barack Obama's visit to Camden back in May. When the President of the United States of America visits your city, it is always the lead story on the news, even if the visit is now just a memory. The President came to town to check out the progress the Camden County Police Metro Division is making in the community-focused approach the police have adopted. After touring police headquarters downtown, President Obama headed to the Kroc Center over in East Camden, where he met with 8 of our high school students and a group of police officers. After a discussion about the role the new police force plays in the community, President Obama and the students played a game of knockout. He might be the most powerful person in the world, but President Obama was no match for Med-East's Jamal Holloway, who beat the president in the game of knockout. Beaten but not deterred, President Obama headed to the atrium afterward to give a speech in which he praised the young people of Camden.
I challenge everybody to get to know some of these young people. They're outstanding. And they're going to do great things in their lives. But the point is that they shouldn't have to go through superhuman efforts just to be able to stay in school and go to college and achieve their promise. That should be the norm. It should be standard. And if it isn't, we're not doing something right. We as a society are not doing something right if it isn't. So ultimately, that's how we're going to measure change.
In other news, Superintendent Rahanafard hit the streets recently to help make sure that every family in Camden is aware of the high-quality preschool program available for free to all 3- and 4-year-olds. Superintendent Rahanafard joined Director Katrina McCombs and the entire early childhood team to go door-to-door in North Camden and spread the word.
We're here to go door-to-door and canvass this neighborhood here around Cooper's Point Family School to get as many 3- and 4-year-olds to enroll into the district's early childhood program. So what we're offering here is a free pre-K program for all of the students and families in Camden that are eligible. We're really excited to be able to offer that.
The district has always offered pre-K. Our goal is to get 100% of our seats filled. And last year we were at 97%. We're hoping to get to 100% this year. And an early start is just really, really critical for our children. And so the earlier we can get our students in a nurturing learning environment, the more likely they are to be successful later in life. It creates that foundation. A lot of families just aren't aware that the program exists, and those that know a little bit about the program, they think maybe you have to pay to enroll your students into it. So this is a great opportunity just to dispel those myths and tell them this is a free program for all 3- and 4-year-olds, and here are the benefits of it. And so we're really excited to be able to have that opportunity to have face-to-face conversations with our students and families. All the research in the world shows that students that enroll in pre-K programs who get that head start are far more likely to be successful and far more likely to be prepared to make a choice of entering college or beginning a career after high school.
So far this year, the spring enrollment drive has successfully filled 66% of available pre-K places, putting the district on track to meet or exceed last year's enrollment figures of 97% by the first day of school. Registration will be open throughout the spring and summer, so it's not too late for parents to enroll their 3- and 4-year-olds in one of a high-quality early learning program for September 2015. The annual reorganization meeting of the Advisory Board of Education was held May 16th at Pine Point. Several advisory board members were reappointed.
As we turn to the end of the school year, it's time to celebrate. Starting June 1st, the school district launched #CollegeBoundCamden, a social media campaign on Facebook and Twitter that highlights some of our graduating 12th graders and where they plan to continue their education next year. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to join in on the celebration. Also this month, the school district honored 20 seniors who have overcome extraordinary adversity in order to graduate from high school with post-secondary plans. A few of the honorees sat down with us recently to talk about how they persevered through some tough times.
Not only did I hear from other people that I'll never make it, I'll be in the ground or in jail, I personally thought that, so for me to even get this award, it shows me how much I've grown and that people see it too. And so this graduation means a lot to me, my daughter, my family, just in general. I came a long way, so this graduation is going to be graduation that I'll never forget.
To learn more about these inspiring young people, visit our website at camden.k12.nj.us. Also in June, Jersey Cares came by and visited Veterans Memorial Family School.
Well, Jersey Cares is an organization that partners up with big corporations, and what they do is they bring out the corporations. They find projects for them to do in these schools or in the community, either it be hospitals, schools or parks, and they volunteer their time. They help us clean up, they help us set up, they build gardens for us. They set up picnic tables. Right now, there's a new parent center that's being built. It's furnished and everything by them. They're painting murals around the school. I mean, there's stuff they did last year. There's stuff they're doing this year. So those are the activities they come and do. They do workshops for the students about nutrition, anti-bullying, fit and fun. I think one of them was called Fantastic Fraction Bingo. So yeah, those are pretty much the things that they offer to us, to the school, and what they bring to the table.
In city news, Mayor Dana Redd joined Superintendent Rohana Fard to launch the district's third Parent Camden Partnership site, this time at the Isabel Miller Community Center. Students from Sumner and the Center for Family Services, Head Start, were on hand to help the mayor and superintendent do some spring cleaning. New furniture is heading inside the center, which will host free skill building and informational classes for parents. Also, Camden will play host to the annual Freedom Festival, which celebrates the 4th of July. Festivities will take place July 3rd through the 6th, all along the waterfront.
For our principal profile, we traveled to Veterans Memorial Family School, where Principal Danette Sapowski now has staff members on her team who were once her students. She told us about the situation during our recent conversation.
My name is Danette Sapowski, and I'm the principal of Veterans Memorial Family School. This is my 4th year here at Vets, and this is my 31st year in the district. I've been an administrator for 18 years. I was vice principal for 9 years, and now this is my 9th year as a principal in the district. This is the 3rd school that I've worked at as a principal, and each experience has been a great experience. When I came to Vets, I had been at Washington for a year, and then we merged together. So it was an elementary school who really had no experience with the middle school population at all, which is a big change. It's a lot different than elementary school. And the vice versa. The middle school population wasn't used to being with the elementary kids. So we really had to kind of start over. And the amount of collaboration and teamwork and the spirit that the teachers have to make it work is something that's unique. This work is important. These kids really need me. So if I can get the staff behind me and find some people who believe in kids the way I do, then we can accomplish anything. And I think that I have found that here. I just think we need some more time. You're always under that pressure, right, that it's now. It's emergent. It's like we can't waste any more time. But the truth of the matter is, it takes real time and real hard work. Yeah, Clayton Gonzalez, I'm so proud of him. He was a student at Lanning Square with me, and he was a great student then, just bubbly, funny, and he just exuded that kind of energy that everybody wanted to be around. Some of the children I mentioned earlier were children that challenged the teachers. Clayton always was the student you could count on to make you smile and do the right thing and all of that, but he's had his own personal struggles too, and he's working on continuing his education, and he came here as a substitute security officer, and I just thought, when the opportunity came up that my community school coordinator retired, you're so great with the staff and you have such personality. When it comes to those kind of positions and outreach to the community or human relations, you got to be a people's person, right? You got to know how to build relationships with people. I think that's something that I didn't mention that I think has also helped me to be successful. That is the foundation of what I believe, that it's the relationships, right? You need those relationships, the relationships with the kids, the relationships with the parents, the relationships with central staff, right? If you mention my name, I think they'll tell you I'm a person that cooperates, I'm a person that wants to get the work done, right? So I have always built things with that philosophy that it's the relationships. And Clayton was the perfect person for that, right? And he applied and he got the job and he's doing tremendous things. So I'm very, very proud of him. Yeah. Well, I have 6 brothers and sisters, and I have 61st cousins on my father's side, so my family is huge, right? And my roots are here in Camden. I grew up in Camden. My father, who was one of 13, his family grew up in Camden. So my roots are here. I just knew from when I was little, I just liked being around kids. I just always liked being around kids, doing things with kids, reading with kids, playing. I just always knew that. I don't know that I thought from a young age I was going to be a teacher, but I always knew I wanted to do something with children. And then when I was in high school and I was talking to my guidance counselor, my sister Dolores was 3 years older than me. She went to college and she decided to study education. I'm like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. And so that started it. And when I went to college, I just really excelled at the program. I went to Rider University, graduated from Temple with my master's in Temple. And then I've done a lot of postgraduate work. The latest work being, because I believe in being a continuous student. I love learning. I love being a student. People think I'm nuts at my age, but I really like doing it. I just finished the Relay graduate program this past summer, and it was a tremendous experience. I've been in the district 31 years and administrative 18, and I've learned so much. I'm painfully shy. I'm a painfully shy person, so people who knew me are like, you're a principal, like, don't you have to get up in front of everybody? And I'm like, yeah, I do, but it's an odd kind of thing, because that's not the majority, that's not the whole of what I do, right? The whole of what I do mostly is working with the students and the kids and the parents in the building, right? It's not me being in the limelight. As much as I can steer away from that is when I'm most comfortable, right? It's one thing to tell children this is what you're supposed to do, but if you don't feel connected to the value and the people who are trying to establish the values, then it's hard to do that work, right? So doing things that build that. So I just think grit, you really just gotta be clear about what's right, and then you gotta stick to it.
Our guest interview this month is a bit different. Because of more advance notice, the district learned of more than 160 separations for the next school year, about the same as last year, but this time we know 4 months earlier. As a result, we can celebrate people properly, including Early Childhood Development Center Principal Susan Goins, who is retiring after this school year. Over the course of her career, Ms. Goins worked at Sumner, Lanning Square, Camden High, and McGraw. We caught up with Ms. Goins earlier this spring.
My name is Susan Goins. I'm the principal at the Early Childhood Development Center. I presently have been in this position since August of 2014. While I've been in the district for well over 20 years, I began as a 4th grade teacher at McGraw Elementary School, and I've worked in various positions to include writing teacher, reading recovery teacher, a resource person for our Safe and Drug-Free Schools program, vice principal at the Camden High School, and principal at 2 other locations, one at Lanning Square Elementary School at the site before they closed, and Sumner Elementary School. I've had a great career in Camden working, and I feel blessed because I feel like I've gone full circle. I've gone from elementary school teacher to almost every aspect of educational experience in the district. I've worked with middle school students, I've worked with high school students, I've worked with postgraduate students to get them into college, and now I'm back here where it all began at the preschool and kindergarten level. So I feel very blessed to have gone full circle and kind of ended up where it all begins. And I've seen it all, so I have an idea of where these students need to go and what we need to do to get them there. Oh, there are some very unique aspects of working with 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds. One, you have to get over how cute they are every day and realize that they are primed and set and ready to learn, and to really probe and get them to learn up to their full potential. And so some of the challenges is because sometimes we don't give them the benefit of the doubt that these are very clever children that are just yearning for more and more and more. So that's a challenge every day, but the really unique aspect is that they are so open to learning and ready to learn. So it's a great experience for me coming back down, like I said earlier, from high school and middle school ages, because where you have so many children fighting to get out, we have children crying when they have to leave. So it's a very unique aspect. It's very informative for me because, like I said, because I've actually been through all aspects of the educational experience, I realize just how important it is at this level to make sure that they get a solid foundation and get a running start. And so what we do here at the Early Childhood Development Center probably impacts the rest of their educational career. So the staff and the everyone here, the teachers, the staff, even the support personnel, take it all very seriously. We take their education and the resources that they need to get their education very seriously. Part of my typical day, aside from being in the classroom, is going from the courtyard to the playground to the cafeteria to make sure that they're being maintained correctly so the students have adequate access and resources to make sure that they're going through a day where they can be fluid and go to play and do gross motor activities. They can make sure that they have their nap times and also get their academic pieces in there. So my day is spent making sure that's coordinated, and as you will know, that most little ones, they don't go by plan or schedule, so there's always something that, you know, that may be a little bit unique. But our staff is very good at following schedules and making sure that the students receive consistent resources and make sure that their schedule keeps them on track, because once it's blown, you may have upset a whole classroom of children for the day. So I would say my day is troubleshooting and making sure that little ones' boo-boos are taken care of, but also making sure that the facilities are adequate, making sure that the curriculum is being adhered to, that the teachers know all new strategies that are to be employed, and really collaborating with the early childhood department. So sprinkled in there are different meetings to sit with staff members for trainings, professional developments, and just informational purposes, so that we make sure that we keep up with the latest information and curriculum and training pieces. Okay, so a little bit about my educational background. It's very funny because my mother was a teacher for over 30 years, and she was actually the first African-American teacher in the Gloucester Township school system. And she and many of her sisters, she had 6 sisters, and all of them were in some form of education. So therefore, the Susan that grew up said, I don't want to be a teacher, I wanted to be a lawyer. But life happens. I did go to school. My undergraduate degree is in sociology and criminal justice. My first job was as a paralegal in a law firm, but family, life, circumstances happen, and one person's career, the husband's career, took off, and my career, I had to take a little back seat because my children now became the focus of my world. So I decided to stay home for a little while and talk to my mother. And she was still in there, you know, you would be a great teacher, you would be, and I had graded papers and assisted her for many years. So I did look into it, and I came into education through the alternate route program here in New Jersey. I studied for the teaching examination, and I came in and was able to get a position, like I said, as a 4th grade teacher at McGraw School. But I didn't start out in education. I really thought that I was going to go another route. But a lot of my experiences here in the Camden City Public Schools has been to use some of that legal background to make sure that I advocate for the students that I worked with. So in my positions with Safe and Drug-Free Schools, and as a intervention counselor, and also as a dropout prevention officer at one time in middle school level, I was able to use a lot of that that educational experience to really advocate for my students, to make sure that they got the best possible education and someone wasn't trying to get them in another formal way out of the educational process. So it kind of came full circle. Yes, I'm a proud member of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I have been honored to serve with the Pink and Green and do a lot of community service. Again, a lot of that background came from growing up. My parents were very big on community service and being a part of the community. So as a college student, as a graduate student, it just became important to me to affiliate myself with a positive group of women that made sure that they reached out to the community. And I still use some of those outreach abilities through my sorority to do some things locally with some of the young ladies in the district. And also talk to a lot of the young women about college life, because they seem to get very excited when you tell them that they're part of a sorority. I think they see some of the things that are kind of highlighted maybe on television, but I want to make sure that I let them know about the giving back to community that's so important and the biggest part of being a sorority sister. It is a family. It is something that I have enjoyed throughout my life. But it really means that you really are part of something that wants to give back to the community that they came from. So I enjoy sharing that with a lot of the young ladies that I encounter throughout my career here in the school system. I'm a fond lover of music. I am, and I have very eclectic taste in music. So I think some of my staff members in particular, and some of the students too, especially when I was working with the older students, would probably be surprised at some of the music that I do listen to. I do love some of the songs that are even playing on the radio today. They kind of motivate me and get me pumped up for work. But I also, like I said, have a wide spectrum and love of jazz, classical, even a little bit of country, Spanish music, just music in general excites me. I have a dancing background and a degree in dance. I was a professional dancer for a short term in my life. I even taught dance at McGraw Elementary School when I first started, and a little bit over at Bonsall School when I was there as a writing teacher. So music and dance is kind of in my blood. So I think a lot of staff members would be surprised if they ever saw me out on the dance floor, because I love to dance and I just love music. And like I said, I love almost every kind of music. So you never know what I might be listening to. It could be Beethoven one day and Tupac the next. What I want all of my children that I've ever impacted to is always been for them to believe that they can. My motto has been we can, we will, we must. I've carried that from the Sumner School family school where I was principal for the last few years to here. But this year when I've come here and working, like I said, with the Early Childhood Development Center, I've added as my motto, we can, we will, we must, for our children, because college begins here. And all of those words, I truly believe in. That's what fuels me every day. We can do it, we can do anything that we put our minds to. We will, because we're here every day, we're geared up, we're ready to go, and we have the experience and the knowledge necessary to do it. And we must, because we're in an age and time, not only here in Camden, but in nationwide, where we're far behind in education. We're not competing with the rest of the world anymore, and we know that there's something that we have to do, so we must do it. We must change. We must make sure that we involve our children in the change, and I added for our children because that's who it's for. It's not really for the adults, so we have to kind of take the adult piece out of the picture. Some things are easier for us, but it's not necessarily the right thing if it's not going to be for the children. And then I added in college begins here, because it does. We have the possibility to impact a child's life at the very beginning of their education in every way, from coming to school every day on time, That's very important, and I've talked to our parents about that. And to also making sure that you keep growing and adding to your growth each and every day, and to make sure that they know that anything is possible, and that they're exposed to professionals every day that we've gone to college, and they need to know that. So I've asked every one of my staff members to put pictures of their alma mater and the names of their universities out on the door, and we have college days where we actually wear our college t-shirts or our sweatshirts so the students know that we represent a wide variety of colleges and universities from everywhere in the world, because we have some teachers that didn't go to school in this country. They may have gone somewhere else, so the exposure is very important. And then, like I said, I'm proud of my sorority so that they know that that's part of college life too, and that's something that you would like to do. That's part of it too. So they're exposed very early, and they get that in their mind. Anybody that's had any type of a dream, most of the time you'll find it started forming very early in life because of something someone said, something someone exposed them to, a picture that they saw, or just an experience that they had. So I'm hoping that from some of this experience we will be able to impact very early on that they can dream, they will do it, and they must do it, and that their path actually does begin here.
For this edition of Express Yourself, we turn to Zaire Daniels, a senior at Creative Arts Morgan Village Academy who was recently named a remarkable graduate. Zaire is part of the choir that traveled to Poland this month to compete in an international choir competition. He sat down with us at CCSD-TV recently on Spotlight On.
Express yourself.
Well, it means so much. You know, one, not only did I hear from other people that I'll never make it, I'll be in the ground or in jail. I personally thought that, you know, so for me to even get this award, it shows me how much I've grown, and that people see it too. And so this graduation means a lot to me, my daughter, my family, just in general. I came a long way, so this graduation is going to be a graduation that I never forget. Well, now I believe there's nothing I can't do, so I'm not going to look at myself 8 years from now and say, oh, I couldn't believe I achieved that, because anything through God is possible. So if you keep that attitude, there's nothing you can't do. Nothing will shock you. All I can say is it gets better. You know, don't let what you're going through, don't let your circumstance determine who you are, and, you know, don't let it be your character. I always say, and this is something I thought of myself, don't let your situation make you, just let it shape you. Of course you're going to go through it and it's going to hurt you, but don't let it make you who you are. Just let it shape you, and you just overcome, you know, because you can kill so many bees with what they say, honey.
Yeah.
You can gain more bees with honey than, you know, something sour. So it gets better, and just keep strong through the end. And I don't know what you personally believe in, but my religion, God has really kept me on straight. So you can't do it alone.
Express yourself.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of CCSD News and Review. Remember, you can watch this video and more than 100 others on our YouTube page. Just search for CCSD-TV. You can also like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to participate in the #CollegeBoundCamden campaign. Till next time, I'm Diane Harmon.
And I'm Brendan Lowe. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.